Hello and welcome. It looks like we have some attendees starting to slowly trickle in. We decided to open up the webinar a little bit early to allow everyone time to get into our session. And so you can just hang tight, grab a drink of water, and we'll go ahead and get started around 3 p.m. But we might also give some additional cushion time just to allow people to transition in. So thank you all for joining us. We're excited that you're here. If you're just now joining us, we're going to give it a couple more minutes to allow people time to transition into our session, and we'll get started in a couple minutes. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. First and foremost, thank you so much, students and families, and welcome to Penn State's Accepted Student Program for the College of Information Sciences and Technology. Congratulations, you did it. You've earned this, and we know and recognize that this was not easy. In any regular year, it's challenging, but in this year, it took some extra persistence, pivoting, and perseverance. So congratulations again. We wish we could be all together in the College of IST's home, which is the Westgate building, which is photographed here in this picture. But unfortunately, we can't in these current circumstances. We are incredibly thankful for the technology that we have that can bring us together during these challenging times. And that's why you're here today. You have the talent, the skills, and the passion to use information and leverage technology that will help society overcome challenges and solve and address real-world problems that we're all facing today and well into the future. As a College of IST student, you are part of a small but innovative community. Every fall, Penn State University welcomes more than 8,000 first-year students. Of those, IST roughly has 250. We are a small but mighty college, and we're moving students and graduates into high-demand fields and industries that are making the world a better place for society. The College of IST works hard to make a large place feel like a whole lot smaller through accessible and passionate academic staff, faculty, and programming. Before we get started, I'm excited to introduce Madhavi Carey, the Assistant Director of the College of IST's Inclusion and Diversity Engagement, for an official welcome. So Madhavi, I'm going to kick it over to you.
Thank you, Allie. So as Ali mentioned, congratulations on your offer of admission to Penn State and welcome to the College of Information Sciences and Technology. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are so excited for you to learn more about the College of IST and meet some of our wonderful faculty, students, and staff. I work in the college's Office of Inclusion and Diversity Engagement, and our office is here to ensure that all students are seen, heard, and valued. Diversity is our strength, and we know that each of us brings diverse life experiences, racial and ethnic backgrounds, sexual orientations, and so much more to the IST community. We are excited for you to join our community, and we will be here to support you on your academic journey. We have a great program for you today, and please make sure you ask any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Madhavi. And I do want to take a moment to introduce myself. My name is Allie Ellison. If we haven't met already, I have recognized quite a few of your names in the attendee list, so it's great to have you back at one of our sessions. I'm the Assistant Director of Undergraduate Recruitment with the College of Information Sciences and Technology. And that's just a really, really long title for saying I'm your main point of contact. And if you have questions, need information, need resources, I'm here for you and your family. So please do not hesitate to reach out to me. That email here on the screen, future students, that goes directly to me. And we can always email or set up a virtual appointment. If we haven't connected through a virtual appointment yet, this is a great way for us to connect to go over your specific questions because our program has so many different options and ways to kind of bring in your passions and interests. It's going to get pretty specific. Outside of your specific questions, we can screen share some resources and I can learn a little bit more about you and what you're really looking for out of the college experience. I do have an appointment calendar. I will drop that information into the chat for you. If you look at that calendar and it's like, Allie, none of these days or times work for me, just shoot me an email and we can set something up based on your schedule. So please do not hesitate to reach out. I'm happy to help in any way that I can. So in order to maximize your time with us today, we are going to have a very brief presentation that will cover a few next steps and high-level overview of what makes the College of IST's programs so unique. We then want to connect you with some incredible students, staff, and faculty within the College of IST. So after the presentation, we will have an IST student and career and internship panel that will cover what life is like at IST and where it can take you into the future. Then at 4 o'clock, we are going to give you the opportunity to break out into different Zoom room sessions based on the major that interests you most. If you don't know what that major is, no worries. This is completely up to you. You can hop and move throughout those Zoom rooms over the 30 minutes from 4 to 4:30. Really, this is about making sure that you're connected and getting the answers that you need. In those Zoom rooms, they'll be facilitated by a recruitment or a student engagement staff person. And then you'll be able to connect and ask questions to IST advisor, a faculty member, and some IST students. So during these two different interactive sessions, feel free to maybe grab a piece of paper, a pen, or jot down your questions. It really is interactive in nature. So please do not hesitate to put those questions in the Q&A box during either the panel or the breakout session. So we'll go ahead and kind of get started with a couple of items. First, we recognize there's a lot going on in the world right now, and you're about to make a big decision. Remember that you do have time, and know that there are frequent updates about how COVID-19 might be impacting Penn State. Please feel free to use that link, admissions.psu.edu/coronavirus, to learn more and stay current on further impacts. If you decide that Penn State is the place for you, which we hope that you do, you'll need to accept your offer to Penn State in the form of a housing deposit according to this schedule, which is featured here. But you can always, again, stay up to date at the admissions.psu.edu coronavirus link as well. There will be some additional sessions in the program later today with admissions and housing and a lot of great support staff with Penn State who are also ready to help answer any questions that you might have about that process. And that will be after the breakout sessions with IST. So what happens during new student orientation kind of depends. Last year, we did have a virtual new student orientation, which was incredibly well received by many of our incoming students. If you are on campus, you would get an opportunity to check out some residence halls, get your Penn State ID, learn about services and programs, and most importantly, connect with that IST advisor to schedule your first college semester. You'll also have some additional things to do. You'll have some pre-NSO homework that will require you to send some additional information to admissions. Again, there'll be some sessions later today that goes into that a little bit further. Something for you to possibly consider is our LEAP program, which stands for Learning Edge Academic Program. So whether you have signed up for a summer 2021 start date or start term, or fall 2021 start term, this is something that you could consider if you want to get a little bit of a head start in your academic career. So what happens here is that you would start at Penn State in the summer. During last summer session, it was, of course, all virtual, but it still went through the LEAP program for a really impactful experience for students who are getting ready to make that transition from high school to college. It is a slower kind of atmosphere in terms of you're only taking 2 courses. Your classes are going to be smaller, which for IST as a small college, that's kind of saying something. But you'll have some non-academic out-of-classroom program to help you connect with your peers, and you'll have connection to a peer mentoring program. So it's a fantastic way to make that transition and get your dip your toe into the college life experience. If this is something that interests you, registration does open up Monday, March 15th at 6 p.m. So again, you have time to make some considerations on this and kind of think about if this is something that you would like to do. How it kind of works in terms of what 2 courses would you pick is based on your major. If you don't know which IST major is really speaking to your interests, you would work with your advisor and take a course like something like IST 110, which gives a good flavoring of the different majors to kind of help you identify what you might be passionate about. In the past, we've had IST 110, SRA 111, and Cyber 100. For anyone who is interested in pursuing data science as a major, you'll be taking an intro level course in computer science called CompSci 131. In addition to one of your IST foundational courses, you could also take an English or a speech course. So in both of those classes, you'll be with your other counterparts in IST or your data science program. And so you really get to know your peers in addition to your faculty member. Those selections for which courses are going to be available during the LEAP program are still in process, but will be promoted at summersession.psu.edu/LEAP starting early January 2021. So this is thinking way down the line, but I also recognize that oftentimes, technology can be an investment. So we do like to communicate tech needs upfront in case you are interested in pursuing or purchasing some additional tech. You can go ahead and take a screenshot of this if you would like, but just know I have this in my files. So if you have any questions or would like to see this list at any time in your college decision process or as you're getting ready to transition, just let me know and I'm happy to send that information to you. Okay, so some of you have already accepted your offer to the College of IST. So thank you and welcome. We are so excited that you will be part of our Penn State family. For those of you who are in the college decision process, again, we want to make sure that you have all the information that you need in order to make the best decision possible. So why IST? What makes us unique? Quite a few things, because we aren't a traditional computer science program. We're somewhere that brings in all the technical components that are incredibly desirable right now in the workforce, but then we pair it with other subject matters. So it could be sociology, psychology, business, math, to give you a really well-rounded experience that makes you both technical but also this really strategic, critical thinker. Other programs tend to focus on one or the other, so we are this really complementary marriage between a couple of different worlds. Our faculty, many of them come from industry, so they have a really rich experience of what it's like to work for a government agency, for an organization, for a consulting company, so that when they're coming into the classroom, they're not only speaking from an academic experience, but also from a professional experience. And they have some great ties to the industry that they can use to make the coursework incredibly relevant. Our classes are structured heavily in team projects. I'm of course not ever saying that you would never take a test or a quiz, because of course that's part of your college experience, but our professors really believe that they want you to take the skills and the knowledge that you're learning in the classroom and use your time to apply it into a team setting. So you'll be presented with a problem, you'll work with your team members, and then you'll be able to apply those skills in a semester-long project. In addition to building and kind of cementing those skills into your mind, you're also getting all these wonderful added benefits of teamwork. So delegating tasks, taking on leadership roles, problem solving in the moment, mapping out deadlines and what work you have to do in order to meet those deadlines, communication, presentation skills. These are incredibly valuable skills that many companies and organizations are looking for and are very pleased whenever they receive IST graduates and they see that that transition from college to the workforce is already there in terms of a skill set. Lastly, our curriculum is heavily tied to industry demand. Now more than ever, we are incredibly reliant on technology. I was joking with a couple of our panelists earlier before we started the presentation about what happens when our audio doesn't work, what happens when our systems and our softwares don't work, and it is kind of terrifying. And so we rely on people to have these skills in order to do our work, whether it is our professional work or maybe staying in touch with our families and our friends and doing something that we enjoy. So there's a lot of high demand for our IST graduates, but also we've evolved with technology. Our college has undergone some exciting changes where options under majors have now been kind of bumped up or promoted into a standalone major. So there's lots of opportunities for our college to continue to stay relevant with the quickly evolving world of tech. We get feedback from our corporate partners for alumni and our faculty, of course, and we're able to make adjustments to fit today's needs. So as we talk about demand, and we do have one of our incredible career solutions team members here and ready to talk to you a little bit about her work with our students, but you're investing in a college education to get a job that you love, a job that is in high demand. And so we are prepared at the College of IST to give you that support. We do require an internship for graduation. Some of you might have already heard this, but we just want to make sure that you know, because we believe that when you go out and get that experience, you're really understanding and learning more about the industry, but also about yourself and what you want to do professionally. In order to help support you in obtaining that internship requirement and also moving into a career post-graduation, our career solutions team does many things, including meet with you one-on-one to provide you with professional development support, resume review. They work with our marketing team to give you all free headshots so that your LinkedIn profiles are looking so good, interview prep, tons of coaching and development, but they also host a wide variety of networking opportunities. Photographed here is obviously pre-COVID, and this is the IST Career Fair that brings in dozens of different companies to connect with our students, to hire them for internships and full-time positions. Even in a digital or virtual scape, we hosted our career fair, functioned much like it would in person in terms of companies had virtual booths and students could sign up and connect with recruiters and network with them in order to get those positions. Many of our IST alum also come into the career fair, and that makes it really easy on you guys when you're coming and you're looking and wondering about internship positions, because you're talking to a current employee who has been in your shoes maybe not so long ago. So it's a really nice, easy transition in having those conversations. Some career outcomes that we are proud of. No surprise here, 100% of our students do complete an internship for graduation. More than 50% of students complete multiple internships. Again, maybe the opportunities are certainly there, but maybe they want to try a different field or industry, maybe a different location in the country. So a great way, again, to try out a couple of different options for you. 84% of our students do receive a job offer from their internship provider, which is certainly good news, and a nice lift off of some of our seniors who might be a bit worried about applying for positions while also finishing up their schoolwork. Average starting salary is $71,000, so that is an exciting little increase over last year, which was $68,000. So always exciting to see it moving in the right direction. And we have over 300 corporate partners who actively recruit our students. So of course, I mentioned a little bit that we do often bring alumni back for those career fairs. So that is one way that you can connect with our alumni. But we do at Penn State have the largest dues paying Alumni Association in the world, which gives you a lot of added benefits as a student. First and foremost, knowing that when you go and network, you're likely to run into a Penn State grad who is always eager and excited to connect with current students. And it provides a wonderful amount of support post-graduation in terms of additional development opportunities and career services. You'll see IST alums representing, again, at the career fairs, but also connecting with our student organizations. Our student orgs often bring in a wide variety of guest speakers to help share experiences of what they were interested in at IST when they were a current student and where their career has gone since then. I do want to talk to you a little bit more about some additional academic services support that you would receive in addition to Career Solutions, and that is going to be academic advising. So you do not have to do this alone. You don't have to figure out all of your 4 years without some guidance. Much like career services, this is going to be collaborative, right? You're going to come to the support staff with your ideas, your kind of goals, and they will help you map that out. Our academic advisors, who you'll meet with in the breakout sessions, are really your first point of your first step towards graduation, I should say. They're going to be the ones working with you to build your schedule, do degree audits, course substitutions to make sure you're maximizing your academic support plan. They offer individual appointments and really just help you make those informed decisions. Because we are interdisciplinary, because you have an opportunity to bring in other subject matters through things like supportive option or an application focus, you might have questions about what that looks like or maybe which avenue to go to, and they are a fantastic resource for you to work with. So again, you're not having to do any of this all by yourself. Learning resources are incredibly important to us, and we have a really robust program at the College of IST, and this comes in a wide variety of ways. First and foremost, your faculty. Subject matter experts, they are the ones teaching you all this important and relevant information. They have office hours. Go talk to your faculty. They want to connect with you, whether you're struggling in class or if you just want to swing by and chat with them. It's always important to build and foster those relationships with your faculty members. Another thing that you can take advantage of is peer tutoring. So we offer that throughout the year. I believe it's once a week where you can tune in and connect with a peer tutor who can help you with any questions that you might have about some of your coursework. But there's also something called learning assistants. Learning assistants are upperclassmen IST students who have taken a foundational course, received an A, and is taking that course again, but with some added leadership role. So they're there to be some extra hands with the faculty, and they are able to provide assistance both in the classroom and then out of the classroom. Much like your faculty members, they have office hours. If you are a type of person who really loves teaching people technology or concepts, programming, math, this might be something that you might want to take advantage of. The first time you're in LA, you can apply and become an LA, but the first time you're in LA, you receive credit. In the second semester that you're in LA, you actually get paid. So it's a great way for you to add a little bit extra cash into your pocket, but then again, develop some really incredible tools in terms of how can you help and strengthen your skills in teaching people different concepts. We also have a special living option or something called SLO. So what this is, it's basically a housing option that you would have access to as an IST student. It is a floor of IST students. So all of your neighbors, all the people, on your floor are going to be your peers. There's a women's wing and there's a men's wing. And what is so great about that is the fact that you have an entire floor of resources to access. They aren't just first-year students. Anyone can participate in the special living option. It is guaranteed housing for upperclassmen as long as you're an active SLO member, which means that you're participating in their activities. In addition to having all those resources of wanting to know more insider information on courses, professors, undergraduate research, life on campus, you have the added benefit of being having access to a variety of social opportunities on the SLO. So family dinner, movie and game night, kind of a little bit more of a fun focus. Before COVID, they also were doing travel trips and networking opportunities. So there's that social component too. But the other benefit, which I think is maybe some of the most important, particularly those students who like to hit the snooze button 3, 4, 5 times before they wake up in the morning, is the location. So we are located on the west side of campus. This floor is in West Halls, and it is specifically in Thompson, but it is a 5-minute walk to the Westgate building. So if you want easy access to all of your resources, your classrooms, that is something for you to consider. The IST is just one SLO. There are dozens that you would have access to across academic colleges, identities, and interests. So it is a little bit more of a smaller, quieter community. So if that's what you're looking for, you should definitely check it out. Lastly, we are one college, but there are infinite number of opportunities. And what you do inside the classroom is just as important as what you do outside of the classroom. In addition to advising, Office of Inclusion and Diversity Engagement, career solutions, we also have student engagement. So they cover all the really fun stuff, undergraduate research, study abroad, student organizations. And we have an assistant director of student engagement, Steve Babb, who will be in one of the breakout room sessions, and hopefully you'll have a chance to meet with him too. Currently, there are 16 IST student orgs, and that is certainly growing under Steve's leadership. But why should you get engaged is really about a couple of things. One, it's social, so you get to meet a lot of really great and incredible people. Two, it's a great way for you to, again, apply those skills you're learning in the classroom in a real world setting. Three, you have the opportunity to really build your resume because you might be working with real clients. We have an incredible student org called Nittany Data Labs. They work with big companies like Disney and New York Times. We have a competitive cyber team that competes in national competitions. So these are really important and valuable skills in order for you to not only experience, but also put on your resume. And it's a great way to develop those important leadership skills by taking on specific roles throughout your student organization. Pre-COVID, there were some travel opportunities across a couple of different offices. We hosted alternative spring break, day trips, conferences to areas like Grace Hopper Celebration and Tapia Celebration of Diversity in Computing. So obviously we're looking forward to, in the future, hosting those opportunities for our students again. There's also undergraduate research. So as you're getting to know your professors, ask them about the research that they're conducting because they're doing some pretty cool things, and see if there's a role for you to play in that undergraduate research. It's a great way to kind of understand the research process and maybe do your own research. We recently had 2 IST students who presented in an international conference, and so they got to present their findings to a global community. This is really about you and understanding what you want out of this experience and taking the steps to make sure that you have it. If you don't know where to even start, don't worry, because there's tons of IST staff and support here to help guide you in creating that experience for yourself. It's all about taking advantage of what's here. So with that, I am doing pretty good on time. I'm pretty happy. I am going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen. And I'm going to ask our panelists to please share their videos, I should say. All right. It's good to see everyone. Fantastic. Okay. So let's go ahead and let's get started. Again, participants, students, family members, feel free to make this as interactive as possible. Put your question in the Q&A box, and we already have some, so thank you so much for submitting that. Before we get to that, I do want to take a quick moment to really introduce everyone. So Rita, can you please kick us off by introducing yourself and who you are and what you do with the college and how you support students?
Hi, everyone. My name is Rita Griffith. I'm the Assistant Director for Student Professional Development in the Office of Career Solutions and Corporate Engagement. That's a career support office that's located in the College of IST. My primary role is working with students to develop professional skills that will help them to transition from the classroom into full-time positions. That being said, I also work very closely with corporate partners, all 3 of my colleagues and I do, to begin to start conversations with companies who are interested in hiring students for internships and full-time positions. We have a lot of resources that are available, and I look forward to answering your questions. Side note, I should say I'm also a Penn State parent. I have a junior and a senior, so I can also speak from the parent perspective.
Yeah, and that's important because we have a lot of parents on the call today. So it's always nice to have someone to go to for questions too. So thank you. Brendan, can we kick it over to you? And can you, in addition to introducing yourself, your major, your year, can you explain who the IST diplomats are?
Yeah, sure. So guys, my name's Brendan Liu. I'm senior, graduating this spring, fingers crossed. Majoring in security risk analysis, kind of like the old cyber major. It's slowly being phased out, but I'm still in that. And IST diplomats were kind of a group of, I guess you could say, honestly, kind of like the face for the college IST. We like to show showcase what the college is all about, what we have to offer, and kind of that firsthand knowledge of what that classroom and stuff is like. So this is definitely one of the bigger things we love to do is come out to these events and share our experiences, really.
Thank you, Brendan. And Aubrey, can you please introduce yourself next?
Hi, everyone. I'm Aubrey. I am a senior and I'm studying security risk analysis with minors in German, history, and IST. And I'm so excited to be here talking to you all today.
Thank you, Aubrey. And Lauren is one of our IST interns with the recruitment office. And in addition to being awesome, it is her birthday. So happy birthday, Lauren. Lauren, can you please introduce yourself?
I'm Lauren. I'm a sophomore and my major is human-centered design and development. I am involved with a lot of the organizations around the College of IST, and I'm excited to answer your guys' questions today.
Great, thank you so much. So let me kick it over to first Rita, if you don't mind. And then we'll ask our IST students to maybe share a little bit about their internship experience, because that's definitely one of the most frequently asked questions. But Rita, how common, uncommon are paid internships for students?
It is very common for our students to have paid internships. I will tell you that many students do network on their own and find unpaid opportunities to gain experience as they're just getting started out in their first and second years. And these may not be full internships of 300 hours, but beyond that, most of our students are being paid on average $16, $18 an hour as they're completing their internships, because they're doing real work, and the companies are very interested in recruiting students to start to fill that pipeline into full-time positions. And so they surely want to make sure that they are acknowledging the asset that these people are bringing to their programs.
Great, thank you. And Brendan, do you want to start by sharing your internship experience?
Yeah, so to date, I've had two so far. One after my junior year, and then one after sophomore year, one after my junior year this past summer. And the second one was very, very nice. It was with KeyBank. I worked as a cybersecurity analyst, and I worked in their security operations center, or SOC for short. Basically, our job was monitoring for bad activities and telling people that are doing the wrong things on their computer whenever those flags are tripped. So very, very cool being that, a brother I like almost. And yeah, very fun time.
Great, thank you so much. And Aubrey, would you like to share?
Yeah, so this past summer, I actually completed my first internship. I worked with PNC, and I was really nervous about it because of how COVID impacted how we just live our daily lives. But because of IST's connections, we have really great networks with amazing companies that are willing to work with you. So I was able to do it remotely, and this is a long title, an independent technology risk management intern on the governance team. So basically, I was on a team that looked at everyone else and told them what they were doing wrong, how they weren't really up to security standards. And then I also got to code a little bit, which was really exciting.
Great, thank you so much. And Lauren, I know you're obviously an intern with us. I can't remember off the top of my head if you've had other internships, but if not, maybe talk to us a little bit about what you're doing to network, and maybe some of your work with UXPA in terms of supporting some pretty incredible corporate projects.
Sure. So yeah, I haven't had any other internships besides working with the recruiting office so far. But right now it's the end of my first semester of my sophomore year, so it's starting to get a little heavier planning for internships and stuff like that. So just for a little insight of what I'm doing at this point, I'm just working on some of the stuff that Ali was talking about in the beginning with our career development and stuff like that, professional development. So I'm just working on resumes, LinkedIn, and stuff like that to get my, self out there. And it is a difficult process, I would say, but at the same time, it's easy with Penn State because I feel like we have a lot of outreach and stuff like that. So as for UXPA, I'm the president of that, and it's a student organization under the College of IST. It started last year, and I've been a part of it throughout its whole creation and everything. So that's been a really unique experience. And with that, since we're connected to UXPA, which is a global organization, we're the Penn State chapter associated with them. They're an entire association of professionals in the UX field. So we have, hundreds of thousands of people who we can reach out to basically at any time and pick their brain. And they're the people who are in the field and have experience. So for our members and just other people connected to the club, that's really, really helpful. And, outreach in any type of way with Penn State, with the orgs and everything with IST is always amazing. So
Thank you so much, Lauren. This is another good question, and one I don't know off the top of my head is, where did you all live resident hall-wise? We do have some students on today's call who is also pursuing a 2+2 option. So Brendan, I know you can talk a little bit about that, but if you could share your residence hall and maybe why you loved that particular area, because I know it's kind of almost like a Harry Potter sorting house. Everyone has their favorites wherever they actually end up. So if you guys could share that.
Yeah, I'm probably actually not the best one for this, just because I did do 2+2. I went to Penn State Brandywine, but coming up here, I actually didn't go to the dorms. I actually just got an off-campus apartment. So I don't know too much about dorm life. I can only go off what others have told me. And for the most part, I've heard pretty good things from what I can tell. But I couldn't name like specific rooms myself. But I know that for most of the people that go in there, I think the biggest thing for them is just kind of having that compatible roommate. And so that's for anyone that told me they didn't have a good experience, it's usually because of their roommate that's in the same room as them. So that would be my advice if you're trying to get a dorm, is really make sure you find someone that you know you can live with. And remember, just because they're your best friend does not mean they're a good roommate. It's a big pro tip going into college. Big difference between best friends and roommates.
For sure. And I would 100% agree with you on that. And I know that housing has different compatibility tests and processes to get placed if it isn't the match made in heaven. So always good things to take advantage of too. So thank you very much, Brendan. Aubrey, can you share?
Yeah, I can hop in there. So I did not live in the SLO, but I did live in West, which is where the learning option, living option is located. And all of my friends that lived on that floor really loved it. I saw one of the Q&A questions was whether or not students living in the SLOs feel separated from other freshmen. And I wouldn't say that. I think that living in that SLO gives you a nice base friend group to, go back to, talk about your first experiences with when you're not so acquainted with Penn State. And then it gives you opportunities to meet their friends as well. So you go to classes, you meet other people, but you always are able to go back to the people at the SLO and have that community. But yeah, living in West was awesome. They have the best cookies. I was 5 minutes from my classes, so I could sleep in. And yeah, it was great.
Great, thank you so much. And Lauren, can you remind me where you lived your first year?
Yeah, so I was in the SLO in West, and I can kind of second Aubrey that it was really, really cool and I loved it. And I can also say on the roommate thing, I had a very bad roommate experience, but I wouldn't have changed anything for the world because just being there in that environment was absolutely perfect for me. And it was something that I was really concerned about too, coming into Penn State. I didn't want to necessarily be around like tons of people all the time. I wanted it to be more like personal and be around, people who are more like me. And obviously West, it's so close to the Westgate building. So it's very easy, could wake up 5 minutes before class. And the best cookies too, obviously.
Yeah, I've heard they're the best cookies. I haven't had one yet, but I will have to try it someday. There was another question in there about, can you participate in other activities even if you're part of the SLO? And Lauren, do you want to kind of speak to that?
Yeah, absolutely. The SLO doesn't require that much engagement. There is a point system that you do, and there's like different community building activities that you're expected to go to. I think it's 3 or 4 of them, if I'm correct, for you to continue into the SLO. I stopped after my first year because I moved to White Course, which is the on-campus, off-campus apartments that are also close to the Westgate building. But yeah, so you're able to basically have, do whatever you need to do if you're in the SLO. It doesn't take up that much of your time. It's like basically a little bit of an addition to regular floor meetings. That's how I would describe it.
Sorry, my mute button was like frozen for a second. So thank you very much. And while we're kind of on the topic of extracurricular activities, Lauren, I know you shared a little bit about it, but I'd love to hear about how Aubrey and Brendan spend their time outside of class. So Brendan, can you maybe share a little bit about the things that you're involved with? Oh, sorry, Brendan, I think you're muted.
Oh, it's awkward. Yeah, I'd be more than happy to. A lot of my stuff, yeah, was. This is pretty much everything though. Pre-COVID was definitely lots of activity going on. Nowadays, it's kind of been a little hard. But I do a lot of sports. I was part of club swim. We practiced a lot. It's probably one of the few club sports where you don't need to like say compete. You don't have to travel if you don't want to. You can just go out and practice with the team and get really good workouts in. So that is up here if you want to do that. Obviously, this semester's been a little quiet with that because we can't meet up in the pool, or couldn't anyways. And for anyone that likes to play hockey, I know someone called out my flag, the Flyers flag behind me in the Q&A. All I'm going to say is just look at the past Stanley Cup Finals. Penguins didn't really make it that far. Whoever that was, they stayed anonymous, but they really called me out like that. There is if you wanted to, there was a club hockey team, but there was a student league too. It was just a in-house league at Pagula. That didn't happen this semester, but it did happen last year and partially in the spring before everything happened. So if you're into sports, there's a lot of them up here. And club sports, different club sports require more intensity and requirements from you, but there are definitely some that are a little bit laid back. You can only just practice, just work out. You don't have to actually compete.
Great, thank you so much, Brendan. And I have to say, I'm also very much a Penn's flag, so we'll have to maybe take a poll and see where everyone else stands on that. Aubrey, can you please share how you're involved?
Yeah, so my freshman year, I got involved with Girls Who Code at Penn State, which is like a Google affiliated club. And I want to say that opened up a lot of doors for me at the College of IST. Just getting involved with a college specific club allowed me to meet some really cool students who were in my major as well, and then some other professors. But then outside of the College of IST, I'm involved with climbing. So we have a top roping wall and a bouldering wall at Penn State. Unfortunately, that's not really happening right now because everything shut down. But then I am also president of a music club. And when we were allowed to have shows, we would bring in bands every weekend. Some names that you guys might recognize are like Snail Mail, Remo Drive. And I met a lot of friends that way. But yeah, I've dabbled in a bunch of clubs. It's not very hard to get involved. And there is something for every interest out there.
Great, thank you so much. So I do want to kick it over to Rita, and can you maybe impart some wisdom from a career perspective of how can students, or how do you work with students to leverage some of these really incredible out of classroom experiences on their resume?
So I think one broad and general statement is that through these clubs and engagements outside of the classroom, students really get to explore a lot about working in teams, a lot about their leadership and communication skills. And those soft skills are critical to be successful in the internship search and in the internship position when it's acquired. Companies are seeking students who are engaged in a variety of different things. It helps to bring open perspectives and diversity of thought to the internship. So I think that it's really important that students find something to become engaged with. I think also as a first year student, and this is maybe a tip that parents might want to hear, it helps to create a community that you have that thing. And I will tell you, it doesn't matter if your club is the clown club or the blue band or a club sport, but that gives you that thing that you bring with you from your high school experience, and it also helps you to build a community out of a shared experience. Both of my students were involved in blue band. We were happy that when they auditioned, they were accepted because they were very passionate about it. But I've also had students who've gotten internships based on connections that they've made in the roller coaster club. So I really just can't recommend enough the importance of becoming engaged outside of the classroom. And it also is good for your mental health, right? It's good to not just be, I'm in my class, I'm doing my homework, I'm in my class, I'm doing my homework. You get to like be a person outside of being a student.
That's a good point, and something I would love for our students to maybe talk a little bit on. How do you find that good balance between being a good student and then maybe taking a break? So how do you really kind of, what works for you in terms of developing that balance? Brendan, do you want to maybe share first?
Yeah, sure. For me, it probably starts with having some type of planner. I also work with Penn State IT, and I can tell you right now, as an incoming student, you will get access to a lot of resources, including Office 365, which includes Outlook, which also has Outlook Calendar, and that's probably my favorite tool because it's very popular in the business world, and I've used the heck out of it. So, really just planning out the week, setting aside like, hey, these are when my classes are. This is like when I have open space to do work, and then I work with them, so block off those hours too. So for me, it's just planning and preparation, kind of thinking like 2 days ahead almost. And by doing that, I can find time in between, sit back, relax, and kind of collect myself. And definitely sleep a lot too. Sleep is your friend. So if you can nap through the day, or if you have time to nap at one point, take advantage of it. Really, really good tool.
Thank you, Brendan. How about you, Aubrey? What are your tips?
Yeah, I gotta say that having a planner has been very, very key for me. Just keeping everything organized and in a list so that I don't forget about things. But then, even when I do have a planner, seeing that list can make me super anxious sometimes. And I always have to remind myself to just like take a step back, take a deep breath, and just go one thing at a time, one foot in front of the other, and you'll be fine. Whenever I find that I have a bunch of school stuff going on and not enough time for myself, I'll normally make myself a little schedule so that, like, from 9 a.m. to 5 ish, like a normal work day, I'll be doing school stuff. But then once it hits 5, I shut down my laptop, I put away my books, and I just take a breather, time to chill for myself. And that has really helped me throughout my career so far, I'd say.
Great, thank you. So important to set boundaries for ourselves, right? How about you, Lauren?
Yeah, I mean, they mostly said it all. Having a planner is fantastic. Using the tools that Penn State gives you electronically is also great. In the coronavirus Zoom environment, planning has been a little bit different. Um, so I know that keeping, you know, like Aubrey said, that you get overwhelmed with your list sometimes. I have two separate lists, like what I need to do today and what I need to do for the week, so I don't get so overwhelmed. Um, Also, just taking advantage of teachers and like Canvas classes and the Canvas calendar has helped me so much. I know that there are other colleges who don't have a calendar for their classes, and that's really, really hard for them. So we do have a calendar, and that helps a lot.
Ali, I'm going to piggyback here too.
Yeah.
This is really important because it's another one of those soft skills, right? It's learning adulting, right? Learning to manage your own time, and time management is a huge bonus, again, to our companies and recruiters who are looking for students to be hiring. So parents supporting that now is a great way to kind of lay some foundation to building those skills. for students.
Thank you so much for sharing. So we are almost at time to switch over to our breakout rooms. So let's end with one last piece of advice for students who are getting ready to transition from high school to college, either at Penn State or at the College of IST. So Rita, can you kick us off with that?
And I just gave it. Actually, it's start doing that now when you're in a safe environment where you have that family to help support that transition process. And you know, you're going to screw things up and it's going to be okay. All right. So just be okay with screwing things up and then figuring out what you need to do to fix it.
I'm sorry, Brendan, can you please share next?
Yeah, sure. I think for me, just try to think 2 steps ahead and don't overwork yourself. Just know that having that social life up here with friends, I don't say go out too much, but you know, just because you're up here, it doesn't mean it has to be academic 24/7. Taking that step back is really nice, really good, refresh every now and then for you.
Great, thank you so much. And Aubrey?
What I wish I had known when I was a freshman is that everyone is human, everyone gets nervous, and it is okay to ask questions. So don't be afraid to ask anyone anything. They are more than willing to help you, especially in the College of IST.
Great, thank you so much. And Lauren, I know that you are a sophomore, so you are a little bit closer in age to some of our attendees. So your advice, please.
Yeah, I would just say don't be afraid, of course, not to ask questions, but honestly, at all. I remember orientation and I cried the whole time because I was like, this is horrifying. But then on my first day, I was like, wow, I never want to leave here. So that was only a difference between a month and a half. So just don't be scared. And I never would have thought that I would have been here and like so happy and far along in the community before. I thought that I was going to have a really hard time, you know, making friends and also getting involved because it seems really overwhelming, but it's not. You will find something that you enjoy. And as long as you just put yourself out there and do what you're supposed to do, you're good. It's not as scary as it looks.
All right, thank you so much. It is terrifying, so thank you so much for sharing that because it makes us all definitely feel better knowing that it's going to be okay. So we are going to go ahead and get ready to transition into our breakout rooms. I am going to go ahead and put your landing page into the chat in case you need help navigating there. What it basically looks like if you look at that navigation page is there are some teal kind of sessions. So I am going to try to share this real quick just so that you guys can take a quick look at it. But you can see here, and apologize, it's not a full screen, but you'll choose between one of these three, or you can move throughout. And it's broken down into cybersecurity, analytics and operations, and SRA, data sciences, and then enterprise technology integration, human-centered design and development, and information sciences and technology. They're all happening simultaneously at the same time. So again, feel free to move throughout if you want to connect with different people. Other than that, it's about to get really specific into your majors. So we look forward to seeing you into those sessions, and a big thank you to our general student panels and also Rita from Careers. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing and then exit, and I'll see you all in your breakout sessions. Thanks all.